So what are the notes requirements? Each person within a group needs individual research notes from secondary sources with the following minimums. You need to have 10 bullet points on causes, 15 bullet points on description, and 10 bullet points on effects. We want these notes to be in your own words and not copied word for word from history.com or Dexter's. Take the time to kind of put it down, and you want them to be detailed enough that they're useful for your research. So let's talk about sample notes. All notes are not equal. Two ways can be bad: if I copy the notes or if they are not specific enough. So for example, sure, I have 10 notes here. I have on the causes. I have segregation, fight against it, Brown, protest, Birmingham, hoses, Kennedy, law, Martin Luther King Jr., and organize. But those notes don't necessarily give me enough to write a story unless I remember all of the facts surrounding them. I'd have to go look up those facts when I would go to writing in the next step. So instead, you want to be more specific. So here are my notes that are more specific. After Reconstruction, the South used Jim Crow laws to segregate Black Americans. In 1896, Supreme Court supported Jim Crow laws in Plessy versus Ferguson, and they became legal. Segregation was finally successfully challenged in 1954 in Brown versus the Board of Education. To fight segregation, protesters actively fought against segregation. In Montgomery, they challenged buses. In Greensboro in 1961, they challenged the lunch counters. In 1963, in Birmingham, Police Chief Bull O'Connor used fire hoses and dogs against children protesters against segregation, and America saw this on the news. I could write and tell the story of the causes or things leading up to the March on Washington just by looking at these bullet points, so they're more useful. Otherwise, you might have to redo your research later, and nobody wants that. So finally, just a reminder that you're now going to enter into several days of secondary source research and note-taking. So let's review what you're going to be doing. Find at least 3 quality secondary sources on your topic. Look at the recommended topics so that you can get your 9 or better. Of course, you can always get more. Second, you need to study your sources. Read, listen, and review the source. Then we need to create. Take detailed bullet point notes on the causes, description, and effects from the source in the template, and be sure to make sure that you've included quality notes like we just talked about. And finally, cite. Add sources to the source list with the URL or write down the title, author, or date. You don't want to have to relook that up later. This will be due on Tuesday after Memorial Day and is worth 20 points. Good luck, scholars. Happy researching and note-taking.